it's sometimes it's black and white, but oftentimes it's not. If something was not sensitive or considered sensitive at the time or classified, it could over time evolve.
This was not about cooperation, and Bill, frankly, it's not about convenience. It's about control. She wanted to control access to the public record, and she almost got away with it, but she didn't.
Hillary Clinton, the evolution of talking about the email scandal, what was in her private email server. Now it's been turned over to the FBI, the Department of Justice, in a new poll out by Monmouth. The question was, do you think Hillary Clinton's emails should be subject to a criminal investigation for potential release of classified material? There you see 52-41. Hillary Clinton on Univision said this: Judicial Watch is a partisan group. That's the group that filed the original lawsuit, FOIA, partisan group that has been suing Democrats, me in particular, for 20 years. Anything that they can sue over to create partisan advantage, they do. A response by Judicial Watch. Hillary Clinton's attacks on Judicial Watch for its success in suing for her State Department records under the Freedom of Information Act will not deter us from our nonpartisan work. Hillary Clinton has a nasty record of attacking and threatening those who try to hold her accountable to the law. It was Hillary Clinton who chose to conduct official government business on a separate email system. It was this decision by Hillary Clinton that placed classified information and the nation's security at risk. Finishing, Mrs. Clinton has a problem with the truth and obeying the law, and that is why a federal judge has requested information from Mrs. Clinton, the State Department, and her closest advisors. Blaming Judicial Watch for the email mess she made is pathetic. So with that, let's bring in our panel. Syndicated columnist George Will, Ron Fournier, senior political columnist of National Journal, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. George.
Well, Trey Gowdy may have been a little premature when he said she didn't get away with it, because we need to know what's on and what used to be on the server and whether the server has been scrubbed. It's interesting at this point to recall that before Hillary Rodham Clinton was that, she was Hillary Rodham, and she worked on the Judiciary Committee in the House that was preparing the impeachment of Richard Nixon. So she knows about 18.5-minute gaps that can occur by mysterious forces, as the Nixon White House said, and she knows the dangers of records that were thought to be safely secure that didn't turn out not to be. We've also had this experience now in, a third year of the Lois Lerner emails, and whether or not the IRS destroyed them or didn't destroy them, whether or not they were irrecoverable, or, come to think about it, could be recovered. So there's a lot more, there are more bounces here technologically to this story.
Ron.
I've been covering the Clintons now since the mid-'80s. Like I've said before, I'm not a Clinton hater. I have a lot of reason to respect them and like them. They've been good to my family, good to my career. But boy, this is Groundhog Day. The parsing that we saw there, the deception we saw there, the victimization we saw there, it goes back to Arkansas. Now, some of the charges over the years haven't been true, but most of them are self-inflicted wounds, including this one. What's happened here is her stone wall is crumbling. And we're seeing that the Clintons, in a case like this, can't even do the right thing the right way. That she should have turned this, first of all, she shouldn't even have this server off the books. As soon as she got caught, she should have turned it over to the IG or to some kind of third-party source. She had to have it dragged out of her. Now they're trying to claim that she did this voluntarily. And, of course, that is patently, obviously ridiculous.
Now, here's where they're really going at it, is that the classified material they're insisting at the State Department was not classified at generation. Now, that is not what we are saying.
It doesn't matter, though.
From sources in the IG's office and U.S. officials all over the government.
But the fact of the matter, it doesn't matter. First of all, there is an onus on a public official, especially a Secretary of State, to handle classified material in an appropriate way, whether it's not, it is marked. There have been people who have gone to jail, including a gentleman by the name of Thomas Drake, who worked for the NSC, for mishandling classified material that was not marked. So this is just part of the smokescreen. It really doesn't matter. If she compromised our most sensitive secrets by putting it on actually she did compromise it, but if it got in the wrong hands because she put it on a rogue server, that's her responsibility. That is wrong. It doesn't matter whether it was marked or not.
This is the only reason we know this is because of the Benghazi Select Committee. The chairman, again, Trey Gowdy, you heard from him there. Another soundbite from him about what took so long.
I find it interesting, however, that it was 20 months after she separated from the State Department when she decided to wipe the server clean or delete. So for 20 months, those emails were neither too burdensome nor too cumbersome. It was only when our committee began to ask the State Department for her emails that she said, you know what, it's been 20 months. Gosh, I really need to get rid of this stuff. I just don't think that passes the laugh test, but I haven't had a chance to ask her about it either.
Charles.
Look, this is the old pattern that you obfuscate, you parse, you pretend, you tell lies. For example, she said she turned over all of her emails, not knowing that the Blumenthal emails would come to the Gowdy committee independently. When everybody had a look at them, they were not in the emails she turned over. And her defense that this is a partisan attack by Judicial Watch is preposterous. It's the judge who's been in on this, and he's not a partisan in this. And particularly right now, it's the intelligence community's IG, Inspector General, who's been driving this. He's an Obama appointee, as are the folks at the Department of Justice and the FBI. Look, her jeopardy is this. She has now lost control. The point of this entire exercise was not convenience. It was to have control of the emails, to keep them secret, and thus to avoid the Freedom of Information Act and congressional oversight, which is a way to allow the public and the public's representatives to actually have a look at official business. Well, that doesn't exist anymore as of last night when she said she'd be turning them over. Once it's in the hands of the FBI, she has no control. Can they investigate the scrubbed emails and reconstitute the ones that were deleted? From what I understand, the chances are relatively good. And then we're going to get an answer as to how honest is her statement that the only things that were scrubbed were the private stuff about her mother's funeral, Chelsea's wedding, and her yoga lessons. I suspect if that comes out, that will not turn out to be the case.